Hallo Leser von Gitarre und Bass, wir sind heute in Isernhagener Blues Garage, in der Blues Garage. Und heute spielt hier Last-In-Line, die Band von Vivian Campbell, den wir alle natürlich auch von Def-Leppard kennen. Vivian, how are you? And great to see you.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
We met several times, last time with Def-Leppard, this time with Last-In-Line. Is there a different gear between both bands, and is there a different guitar between Def-Leppard and Last-In-Line?
Yes, very different guitar, different gear. I only use this guitar with Last-In-Line. This is the original Dio-Les-Paul. So it kind of felt appropriate to play this guitar when we started doing the Last-In-Line band years ago. I had used this once or twice with Def-Leppard over the years, but I now have a lot of Les Pauls, and to be honest, I have guitars that are better than this. But as this is the guitar that recorded and toured the Holy Diver album, I felt it's appropriate to do it. So it's nice to get back to this guitar. You know, I did a little bit of work to it to bring it up to spec, and it's very comfortable. I learned how to play on this guitar, so I have a lot of history. There's a lot of sweat equity in this instrument.
Okay.
You know, like I said, it's not necessarily the most expensive or the best Les Paul that I own, but if my house was on fire, I would grab this one.
All right.
It means a lot to me.
And since when do you own it, and how did you get it?
I bought this guitar in 1977 when I was 15 years old, and I had to work a long time for about 1.5 years to pay it off. A friend of my father's and a good friend of the family, he was very supportive, as was my father, and he agreed to sign the papers to guarantee the payments. And I had to work all summer, all Christmas, every school holiday, every weekend, and to pay for it. But it was worth it. This was my first real guitar. I had a couple other, you know, very cheap, not very good guitars, and I was learning how to play. But this is really the instrument where I really became a more capable player and really focused. You know, I listened to Thin Lizzy records and listen to Live and Dangerous and on this guitar and try and figure out all the parts. You know, I started. Rory Gallagher was my first guitar hero. It's the first album I had was Live in Europe '72. The first concert I saw was Rory in Belfast. The second concert I saw was Rory in Belfast. The third was Rory in Belfast. Not many people came to Belfast in the mid-70s. So I really wanted a Stratocaster until I discovered Paul Kossoff and the guitar players, you know, Robertson and Gorham and Lizzy, but through that especially Gary Moore, who became my ultimate influence. And so I quickly became a Les Paul guitar player. I realized that was the instrument for me. Although the patina that Rory's guitar had is with me. I don't like new shiny guitars. I had ordered a gold Les Paul Standard, and I had waited for many months because, again, this was Belfast area in the 1970s, and we didn't have a lot of choice. You know, a little music shop, they didn't have any Gibsons in stock. They had to order, and many months passed, and I'd get off the bus from school, I'd go there, and one Friday afternoon they said, well, good news and bad news, we have a Gibson Les Paul. It's not a standard and it's not gold. It was a wine red deluxe. So that's how this guitar started its life. But I was young, I was impatient, I didn't want to wait another 4, 5, 6 months. I took the guitar, I took it home that night, and I took sandpaper to take the shine down. So I played it as a dull wine red deluxe for many months, and then I saved up some more money. I took it to a guy in Belfast who does guitar repairs, and I said put humbuckers in it and put a brass nut on the guitar and brass jack plate. We changed the machine heads, the shallers, but every aspect over the years this guitar has been modified a lot, you know. And then eventually we painted it matte black, and that's the color it's been since about 1978 or 79.
Okay. Hallo Leser von Gitarre und Bass, wir sind immer noch in Isernhagen in der Blues Garage und wir haben jetzt Phil Soussan. Is it right? Phil Soussan?
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
er ist der aktuelle Bassist von Last-In-Line, aber er hat auch mit Ozzy gespielt. Er ist wirklich eine Legende. Und ich werde ihn ein bisschen fast fragen zu seiner aktuellen Beschäftigung und alles weitere lest ihr in der Geschichte, in dem Interview selbst. Phil, you're the current bass player in Last-In-Line. Could you explain in maybe one or two sentences your relationship to the music of Ronnie James Dio, how you discovered it, and what in former years the music of Dio meant to you?
The music of Dio and the music of Ozzy were very similar because they came from the same original point of Black Sabbath, and it was Black Sabbath that introduced me to Dio, of course, and of course Ozzy that I played with. So that was my introduction.
And is there a favorite record, a favorite Dio record, a favorite Rainbow record, a favorite Rainbow or Dio song in your life?
Rainbow Rising, of course, was a tremendous album and remains one of my favorite top 10 albums if I was stranded on a desert island, for example, that I would make sure I had with me. As far as songs go, I love the song Last-In-Line, and that was really a great tribute to Jimmy Bain, who was a wonderful bass player. Mm-hmm. And every time I play that song, I wish I'd written that bass line. It's an amazing track, yeah.
Okay.
It's really amazing.
Okay. Die ganze Geschichte mit Phil lest ihr bei uns im nächsten Heft. Bis dann, ciao.